left my house always thinking I was going to win. I was always telling myself, you're going to win this thing. And when I didn't, I was always mad at myself because I expected to win. I'm thinking if you outwork everybody, you win. And that was always my thing. I always wanted to make sure I outwork everybody because I think there's way better cooks and people with way better palates than me, but I don't think anybody's ever outworked me.
There you go.
And that when I was a kid, my grandpa always told me, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And as I've gotten older in life, I mean, that's what it is. If you're that guy that'll just get out and work, you make your own luck. Good things happen.
Exactly. That's awesome. So winning the Jack and the Royal, how did that change your trajectory for you personally as well as Clark Crew BBQ, winning those big contests? Did you get more popularity?
They gon' have barbecue. They gon' have barbecue. They gon' have barbecue. They gon' have barbecue. Get your barbecue on. Get your barbecue.
Ever notice how the sound of sizzling meat and the smell of smoke can silence the noise of the world? Now that's barbecue therapy. If the fire moves you, like, subscribe, share, and help spread the message because growth, like good barbecue, takes time and patience. Welcome to your therapy session. Welcome to the BBQ Therapy Podcast. My name is Tavis, Bryant, and today on BBQ Therapy, we're joined by a name that needs no smoke signals to be recognized, Travis Clark of Clark Crew BBQ. From a humble start in 2012 to winning 60 grand championships in 258 competitions, 2 Team of the Year titles, and claiming trophies at both the American Royal and the Jack, Travis has built one of the most dominant careers in barbecue history. He maxed out KCBS points by July, earned over 800 awards, and later brought that same intensity into the restaurant world. Partnered with Favorites Dave to open his flagship Clark Crew BBQ in Oklahoma City, and now expanded to Tulsa. Today, we're digging into what drove the rise to the top, what kept him there, and what the smoke revealed along the way. Welcome to the show. I got one rule: just make yourself at home and have fun.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me.
All right, no problem. I'm gonna start off from doing my research and listening to different podcast stuff about you, but you started just walking around the American Royal, and when you did that, what caught your attention that drew you into getting into barbecue?
I loved eating barbecues. The smell was what took me there. We were literally walking around Kansas City on a Saturday, pulling my kids in a wagon because a good friend of mine had to have a kidney transplant, so we were up there doing a kidney walk for her. After all that was done, I smelled the barbecue, went to the Royal, started walking around, and I wanted to eat there. And then I started seeing all the really cool Jambos and good-looking pits. And I've always liked cars, hot rods, Harleys. And I was like, man, I need one of those. And when I left that thing, I decided I was going to start a team. And we were driving home from Kansas City. Hours down the road, my mom called, and it's ours.
That's nice. So who was the family members that were there?
It was me, my ex-wife, Kimberly, which we did it for years and years together. Then our oldest daughter, Jennifer, then Madison, and then Brooklyn, and then Cooper. We had all 4 kids up there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I plan on going to American Royal to walk around this year, so I look forward to it. I look forward.
It's cool. I haven't cooked it the last 2 years, which is weird because I've always cooked it. And I almost thought about it this year. They sent me the thing, and you're still qualified to cook it from when the 2 years when I won my last one. Nah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I stay in Georgia, so I already got my plane ticket and everything else, so I'm ready to.
You'll have fun.
I hope so. When you first started, did you have the Jambo before you started, or did you get it?
No, whenever I started, the only smoker I had was a propane start that you put wood chips in, like a master built deal. It was like a cabinet smoker. I used to do pork loins and stuff in it all the time. When I was a kid, we grew up cooking hogs and things like that, but I didn't have my own pit. And so when I decided I wanted one of those, I wanted a Jambo right off. And then I priced them, and I'm like, holy cow, I can't afford that. It was like, this ain't happening. It was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to do that. So I bought what was called a smoke master out of Texas on a trailer. And I wanted to make it like a Jambo, so I made it look as close as I could. Cut the firebox off, built an insulated firebox for it, and did all the things. And made an agreement with Kim, my ex-wife. I made an agreement with her. I said, hey, all right, when I win my first grand championship, I can get me a Jambo. And she says, deal. Well, hell, we won like our 3rd contest ever. So then I got a Jambo, and I couldn't afford both. So I ended up selling that pit, my first one. And actually, just about a month ago, I got it back. So I actually have my original pit now.
That's good.
Yeah.
So when you did you take any classes at the beginning?
I did. Whenever I first got into it, I had taken 2 classes. I took one, and it really wasn't about competition barbecue. Kim's grandma lived in Great Bend, Kansas. We went up there to do some work at her house for her. Her husband had passed away, so we went up there, and I don't remember what I did, work on toilet in the sink or something. There wasn't a lot to do in that town, and we went and ate barbecue, and on the side, on the wall in there, it used Kelly Wirtz's places when he had his restaurant, 4 Legs Up, which Kelly's a legend. It was on a wall, and it said, rib class out here in town, like $75. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. And she's, that's fine. I'm going to stay with kids. We're going to do this and this. And I think she took the kids to the pool or splash pad or something. And I went out to that class, and I remember thinking, that is the best damn ribs I ever ate. They were so good. And I didn't know who Kelly was or nothing then. So I took that class. And then a couple months later is when all this started, and I wanted to get into the cooking. And then after I did that next, I would say it's probably 6 months later, I took Rod Gray's class after I went through the Royal. Rod was the first one I really talked to at the Royal, and he was like, you need to walk up this aisle. Johnny Triggs there. And I was like, well, who's Johnny Triggs? And he's like, you go on down this aisle, and you'll see another Jambo there. It's True Buds. And I was like, I loved their pit. I was like, man, that thing is cool. So we went and looked at a bunch, and that's what we did. Well, I took his class after talking to him. He's like, if you want to get into it, I got a class. I went and took his class, and I wrote down everything I could think of. Down to how many paper towels this guy tore off when he was getting ready to do ribs. I had notes for miles and miles. And when I went and did my first contest, my very first one, I just built that pit and got it out of the paint shop like 2 days before. I'd never even had a fire in that pit. First fire I lit in it was at the contest. I was following his book to a T, you know, how this is how I do this, this is how I do. I undercooked my rib or my pork and my brisket because that pit just didn't cook hot enough the way it was designed. And I did really good in ribs. I had first place ribs. I think it was maybe second place ribs. And a first place perfect score 180 bison category they had. Oh, wow. And I got a chicken call also. And then I was just underdone on my other ones. I was like, oh, this stuff ain't hard. It just hooked me on it. It went good, and it went pretty good. Then we just got a little better. We ended up winning like our 3rd contest. And then that's when we got our Jambo.
And in between that, were you practicing a lot?
Never. I was working so much back then. This is terrible. I've never practiced cooked in my life. I've never. We don't cook ever. I hear everybody doing it, and I always had it in my head. I'm an overthinker. So I sit there and said, is it a practice cook if I step out in my driveway and cook ribs? If I'm just going to cook ribs, is it a practice cook? To me, the answer is no. If you're cooking on a Jambo, I have my pork here, I got my brisket here, I got my chicken here, and I got ribs here. If I just put ribs here, you know, that air is not flowing the same. Oh. So to me, if you're not doing an entire contest, it's not a practice. And I said, if I'm going to freaking cook all the meat to practice, why not just cook a contest? So I've never done it. I cook at home all the time. I've done a couple pork butts at home, and I've done a pastrami and a couple briskets at home, but I've never competition cooked. Usually those are on my FEC 100 or something. I just do it on a cook shack or something. But I've cooked a few deals on a Jambo at home, and we've ran some flavor profiles. Like I'll do stuff for some of these Kidney Foundation or one of these walks or something, Walk America, or these youth foundations are like, can you do us a bunch of ribs? So I might cook 20 slabs of ribs, and I'd try 5 different flavor profiles. I'd be like, what did that one do? I'd cut one off and I'd try them all. I'd test some flavors, but as a true practice cook, never in my life. Never. Wow. My first brisket and first pork butt I ever cooked in my life was at a contest.
Wow.
So bad. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. Everybody out there, you're not Travis Clark, so don't try that at home.
And it was bad. When I lit that fire in that pit at that contest, it smelled like paint in the entire place. I was like, oh shit. Like you could walk around it, and I burned it that Friday night, and you could just smell it everywhere. I was like, oh, this is bad. This is not good.
So what kind of kicked in like around the 2014 season that you felt like, I guess it like you caught your groove?
It really happened at the Royal. I felt like I cooked good food at the Royal. That year was my first year cooking, and We'd won our GC, and I thought I was cooking good food, and I was seeing my scores go up every time. And I was trying other people's stuff, and I was thinking in my head, I was like, I think mine's better. I think mine's better. And I was just getting there. And then we went to the Royal, and that was the first big contest I'd done. And I had a lot of friends and stuff and guys that I'd met. They come over and tried it. And I remember them guys trying my brisket and going, dude, like, that's insane. And I was like, it's pretty good. I think I've done better. And they're like, no, that's like the best damn brisket we ever had. And I'm like, I just think it's okay. Like, I thought it was okay. And we 180'd at the Royal. First time I ever cooked that thing. Reserved the Royal right behind Darren. It was Darren's first year winning it. We had a chicken call also. And I just remember going back going, I made this mistake. I made this mistake. I did this wrong. I remember everyone's just celebrating. And I'm thinking, shit, I got a whole list of shit I need to do different. All this. I need to do this different. And I just kept, what worked on brisket, I'm like, okay, but what about this? What about this? And I just kept tweaking it. And that was really about the last thing I cooked was the Royal that year. So going into 14, I had saved up my vacation time from work so I could cook a little more. Mm-hmm. And going in, I felt like I had a target on my back, but not really. I felt like, not a target, but I felt like everyone was thinking, is this guy a one-hit wonder, reserving the Royal and winning brisket, or is he decent? And if you look at my 2014 stats, hell, the first 7-10 contests were all grands and reserves almost. I mean, just out of the gate was first and second. We were just killing it. And I had to stop because I ran out of vacation time, so we didn't cook that many that year. I think 14, 15 contests, something like that. But hell, we'd had several grands and several reserves. Yeah. And I remember looking at that, and I was looking at my stats, and I was looking at that year was the year that Donnie Bray and True Bud and them were going head and head on points. And I remember looking at that and saying, per contest, I kicked the crap out of everybody. When I was looking at stats, I was like, it's not even comparable. I was like, if you look at the stats, and I was a numbers guy, I'm like, if you break it down, I was like, we were by far the best team in the country, is how I looked at it. And I was like, I just have to cook more to get to the amount. I said, if you're going to hit it at this many times, I have to cook more. So we got the invite to King of the Smoke, and we were out there, and we're driving home. My ex-wife, she's, were you happy with your year? I was like, not at all. And she's, are you serious? And I was like, no. And she's like, what are you not happy about? I'm like, I told her that. I was like, if you do the numbers, I set the whole nine out there, and I was like, we'd have a shot at Team of the Year if we just cooked more. I said, these guys cooked twice as many and only won a couple more grands. I said, do the math. And I was like, and we need to cook against those people. You more head-to-heads because we did good when we did. Mm-hmm. And she's like, so we can do next year. And I was like, I want to chase Team of the Year. And she's, are you serious? I was like, yeah, 100%. I said, I want to go chase Team of the Year. I was like, I want to try to cook 40 if I can. Cook as much as I can, save my vacation time. If I work 40 hours a week and get that done Monday to Thursday, work 4 10s, I can get some Friday, Saturdays off. I can trade some days. I was figuring it all out with everybody I worked with. And I was like, I think I got a shot. So then I come out, and I got on a couple podcasts they were asking. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go try to win Team of the Year this year. That is probably not the smartest thing to say. I just did it. And it was a battle, but we did exactly what we said. We went out and won Team of the Year that year. And we had thought about doing it again in 2016. I tore my knee out New Year's Day, so that pretty much just wiped that out. I still cooked quite a few that year. And that year fueled me for 17 because, I was banged up trying to work. I didn't have any vacation time because I spent it the year before. And I had 2 knee surgery, got all that done, got all that stuff done. And then everybody's, oh, man, a down year for you. And I thought, a down year? I still won more than you ever have. For me, it frustrated me. I was like, what are you talking about? So it made me mad. So then in 17, I told my ex-wife, we talked about it, and I told her, I was like, I'm going to go out. I said, I'm not going to have it down. In 15, we got down to needing a couple points here and there. And you're running all over the country to just try to replace a win to get 1 or 2 more points. It was silly. And the guy that I had cooked against that year, David Qualls, head-to-head, I beat him all the time. Mm-hmm. But he had cooked some bigger contests that got more points. And I'm like, I need to follow him and just keep beating. And that's what I said. So in 17, I was like, I am never, ever getting in that position again. I tried not to cook anything that wasn't 35 teams. I tried to always, there was a couple, but when I left to go to them, they told me they were full and they were max point, and they weren't. So we wound up winning 14 GCs in that 1 year. 12 of them were max points. We maxed it out in July. It was nuts. We just kept going out, and then I just kept cooking. I'm like, I don't care. I'm just going to keep going because Tim was cooking super hard also. Mm-hmm. Tim finished, I think, 1 point shy of max points. But I ended up having 3 more max point wins over him. So he'd had to win 4 more to beat me. Max point. Wow. So it was crazy. And I don't think Tim gets enough credit for that as any other year, what he did is the best year in the history of barbecue. 1 point shy of max points. It's insane. These guys can win team of the year now on 5 GCs. The dude had 9 max point GCs, and I think he wound up with 11 or 12 GCs that year. It's an unbelievable season. Any other time, he'd have been team of the year anywhere. But it was fun doing it with him. We cooked head to head a bunch of times. It was super fun doing it. And then for us that year, the crowning moment, I knew I had team of the year locked up by then, but when the Royal come around, then we won the Royal that year. That was just kind of the crown of it all for us. But
that's the big feat. But back then, were you using your own seasoning back then, or you was using somebody else's rub?
No, I used a lot of Cimarron docks and a little bit of Smoking Guns Hot, but mostly rods, Zero to Hero, and Eat Barbecues, most powerful stuff. I used a lot of rod stuff. I used a little bit of Cosmos. I had started making my own stuff and toying around with it, just not for sale. I was always tweaking one. I'd cook 4 racks of ribs at a contest, and one would have a test rub on it. I was always doing, that's how I did all my practice cooking, was at a contest. I'd always have, I'd cut 1 rack of ribs, 1 bone shorter or something, so I knew which one it was all the time. And it'd have a different rub or a different sauce or 2 different rubs. I was always trying to do it.
That's smart. Okay, when you were chasing scores and globetrotting with the crew, did competition stop being fun? Did it become an addiction, or was it fun all the way through? Or
I had fun in my own way. Me and my wife talk about this all the time. Is my fun involves work. It's fun for me to stay busy. A down day for me, like on a weekend, I don't know what to do. I like to go to the restaurant, stay busy, or work at my warehouse, or work at my farm. I like to work. I can't stand sitting around. So for me, it didn't look like I was having fun as hard as we went, but that was fun to me. I loved the competition side of it. I loved that. Going against good teams and doing all that, I really loved. And I had fun, and I had fun when I could take my kids. We could go do stuff. That was fun, but then it got to the point, like in 17, I did most of them myself. They were all burned out. They were doing it super hard. And as they got older, school things came up, we just did it. And that's why I really knew 17 was going to be my last year of doing a bunch. It was just the kids take over priorities, but we always made sure we had fun when we went somewhere. We'd religiously always go to Frisco, Colorado for Father's Day and stay a couple days in Colorado. We'd always try to stay somewhere and enjoy the trip on the way if we could. We did King of the Smoker. We did Disneyland. We spent an extra week out there. It was just, we always tried to make sure we had fun. I never was the partying kind of guy and go out and drink. And I'd stand out there and talk to those guys. I just never drank. There are a handful of people that ever seen me drink anything at a contest ever. I just never did it. To me, it was a business. I was always there with a goal. I left my house always thinking I was going to win. I was always telling myself, you're going to win this thing. And when I didn't, I was always mad at myself because I expected to win. I'm thinking if you outwork everybody, you win. And that was always my thing. I always wanted to make sure I outwork everybody because I think there's way better cooks and people with way better palates than me, but I don't think anybody's ever outworked me.
There you go.
And that, when I was a kid, my grandpa always told me, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And as I've gotten older in life, I mean, that's what it is. If you're that guy that'll just get out and work, you make your own luck. Good things happen.
Exactly. That's awesome. So winning the Jack and the Royal, how did that change your trajectory for you personally as well as Clark Crew BBQ, winning those big contests? Did you get more popularity, or did
winning the Royal changed everything for me? Winning the American Royal, that's when that happened to be the same year that Dave Anderson with Famous Dave's was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. So he gets in the Hall of Fame, and 30 minutes later, we win the thing. And Dave introduced me to a bunch of people and said, at the time, I didn't know Dave that well, just through Facebook, and I'd ate at his restaurants over the years. And I was like, holy shit, Famous Dave is over here congratulating me. I was like, that's super cool. It's like, and then I got a call from their CEO, and they're like, interested in selling Clark Crew or doing this or doing that or something. I was like, no, I don't think so. And I didn't know what. And by the time we were all done figuring out, we were going to partner on a restaurant together. They were going to show me how to do a restaurant and all the things that go in it and do everything and join. So it was a great opportunity for me, and I'll be thankful for Dave until the day I die. But it changed my life the way Dave did. I parted ways from them about a year and a half in or so. It just wasn't for me being partners with a big company like that. It just wasn't for me. So I bought their percentage out and partnered with my other friend, and it just worked better. It just, when they sold Famous Dave's to that bigger company, I just had a fear of being owned by a company that has 2,000 deals
Oh yeah.
and them having 20% of my business. I was just like, it just scared me. I got a little gun shy and did my own thing, and it's really been the best thing I've ever done in my life now. But I'll always be thankful for the opportunity,
Oh yeah.
that they did for me.
Okay. So out of all your cooks, which cook tested you emotionally more than physically, and what did that teach about yourself?
I can tell you, it didn't wind out well. The 2016 Jack Daniels, we missed chicken turn-in.
That was my next question.
You want to talk about emotional? That's the one. I said every cuss word under the sun. Two things happened. My ex-wife was running the box, and she was going so slow, and I was so furious. What the hell is she doing? I'm watching her walk, and you couldn't walk any slower. And I'm yelling at her, and I'm so mad at her. I'm like, what the hell were you doing? And she's, I just couldn't walk. And I was like, what do you mean you couldn't walk? She was going so slow. I just couldn't make myself work. So she missed it by 3 seconds. Wow. And it was a badass chicken box. All I had to do was score like a 164, and I win the Jack. But I was furious. Later on, we come to find out it was the start of her lupus. Oh. She had a medical problem. We literally started, I'm like, you better get the doctor and figure this crap out. I was like, that's bullshit. I was so mad. So who knows if we would have ever figured out what was wrong with her if it wasn't for that. Okay. So we're glad we figured out what was wrong with her. It was a good deal, but I was just watching it like, is she purposely walking slow? What is going on here? It just wasn't meant to be. And then, so I threw everybody out of my trailer. I was like, just get the hell away. Leave me alone. I'll do this myself. And we wound up with calls the rest of the day. So the point that the camera's over there thinking I won this thing, and I'm like, you need to go stand by Tuffy Stone. It's like, he's the only other guy with a couple calls. And they're like, oh, you got 3 or whatever. And I'm like, trust me, it ain't me. I got to be Tuffy won it. But everybody there thought that I did. And I'm like, it was like, I just did it myself. But emotionally, that told me that you just failed at a world championship and you can still get calls at that thing afterwards, after your first meet. To me, personally, it told me I was a badass. That's how I viewed it to myself. I'm like, I'm the baddest man on the planet. I was like, you took a 0 and you still came through by yourself and finished it all. So it changed how I looked at it. I thought that was my opportunity to win the Jack. I was just like, man, I had it. I had it right there. I was so hurt by that, how it went. And me and Kim fought about that. I'm like, you didn't even try. I was like, all you had to do was just walk at a normal pace and it would have been there. But other things to that fault is my OCD on how I wanted the box to look. I pushed the clock thinking that she would make it. We timed the walk. She should have had enough time. When this didn't work out that way. It was just the first box she ran in. She's, I don't know why, I just couldn't walk quicker. And it was just, we come to find out that was the start of her lupus, or when it was affecting things. So it was, I was like, now we know. But I was furious, and it crushed me because I wanted to win that so bad. So the next year, I think that kind of motivated me even more for that 2017 season to go hard. And after that, I just truly had the feeling that I couldn't be beat. I just didn't think I could ever be beat. I was like, man, I'm better. I just have to do it. I went out and I told my boss that year, I was like, when I still worked in the oil field, I'm like, look, I'm going to cook a bunch. There's going to be days I had 5 weeks of vacation, but I'm like, on this Friday, I made my schedule out. I was like, on the 12th, I have to leave at 3:45. If I leave at 3:45, I knew I could be home and on the road by 5:20, which would get me there at 10:30 at night. I had it figured out just to stretch everything out that I possibly could. And then I knew in 2018 it would kill me because I didn't have vacation time. If I burned it all up, I wasn't going to carry over any time. I carried overtime from 2016 to do it again in 17. But emotionally, by far the most emotional thing that I've ever had to go through is just missing that turn in at a world championship. It killed me.
I knew it had to be something because I was looking at it. I was like, okay, he came in last. What's going on here? I knew something had to happen for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was bad. And then you look at the rest of the scores. All I needed was like a 164 in chicken, which would have been like 10 points under my average in chicken to win the thing.
Yeah. So I'm going to read some of your stats just so people can get an idea of what's going on. Read 14 through 17. 2014, Barbecue Data had 21 contests, 7 grand championships, 5 reserve grand championships. 2015.
You want to know? Let me tell you about 14.
Okay.
I quit cooking that year. I was going to keep cooking, but I had $7 grand, so I thought I was autoed to the jack. So the contest I cooked in Texas didn't get their paperwork filled out to be a state championship. I quit cooking. Butcher Barbecue ended up getting the draw that year to go cook it with $1 grand championship. That was another. I was pissed that year. I would have kept going. I could have won more. I was just trying to save vacation time because we knew we were going to go to King of the Smoker, and we knew we were going. I knew I was wanting to cook more the next year. Yeah, $7 grand. So I thought I was autoed in, and everyone was like, "Congrats on the auto! Congrats on the auto!" I didn't understand how it worked. I'm like, "Yeah." And then you find out one of them didn't get their paperwork turned in. You're like, "Oh, that's heartbreaking."
Wow. In 2015, 40 contests, 13 grand championships, 4 reserve grand championships. And then 16, you had 40 and 6 grand championships and 4 reserve grand championships. And then 2017, you had 47 contests, 14 grand championships, and 6 reserve grand championships.
That's nuts.
Exactly. And I can officially say ain't nobody I don't care how they winning today, they're not winning at 1 in every 3 contests, 1 in every 7 contests. It's not happening like that.
Now our career, we finished that. It's just a little over 1 in every 4 contests we cooked for our career. It was a win.
It's crazy. So you walked away at your peak 60 grand championship, 258 comps as Jordan level dominance. Was it hard to step away, or you were just like, okay, I got the restaurant now?
It was. I had finally got my dream barbecue trailer. I'd finally got everything I wanted, and then I only cooked out of it like 18 times or whatever, 16.
Wow.
That was tough. The trailer was the toughest thing. It's just like, man, I finally got to where we could live in it and go on the road if we wanted to. And that was our plan. I really thought we'd go out and cook about 30 a year, and just do mini vacations, just spend some time and cook, and then go to the next contest, then come home for a couple weeks. I thought that was a plan, and the restaurants just take so much more time than I ever dreamed they would. And I was pushing it where I was not at the restaurant that last couple years as much as I needed to be. And I just told Jamie, I was like, this is good. My partner loved us going out and cooking. And he was very supportive of it. And I was just like, I can do better for our business if I'm here more and I focus on the business more. And my competition, for me to do it, it's a week-long deal. We did something every single night. Monday night, you make sauce. Tuesday night, you trim brisket. Wednesday night, I did ribs and pork. Thursday, we did injections and sauces. We did different stuff every night. And I just needed to focus on the business more. And it's like, when this is all said and done, my kids aren't going to care about the trophies and all that. But if their name's on a building and a successful business, it's something that can change their lives and their kids' lives if we do it right. It's just, we put so much passion into the restaurant, and I had to just sit back and say, what's the most important thing?
Exactly.
To us, it was unanimous to focus on the restaurants more. That was hard to step away from it and it's hard for me today when I see people post these boxes that they're winning, and I see it and I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I looked at my first rib box I ever did. Ever in competition, it's better than some of the stuff going out there today with people winning contests. And I think, oh my God, I'd be embarrassed if I turned that in. I talk to my friends that are cooking like Brad and them, and they're like, it ain't like it used to be. And to me, that's hard because I felt like we worked really hard at it. So it's hard to see some of that, but I don't know, it's bittersweet to move on from it too. But having the restaurant kind of soothes that urge for me to do it. We compete. There's different awards you win in restaurants, and that shit means nothing to me. I usually throw them. I drop the reader's choice award in the trash about 2 seconds after the guy handed it to me. He said, "Did you mean to throw that away?" I was like, "Yeah." I care less about a vote. I don't care what people vote. I didn't win it. It's a vote. I was like, I don't care. I'm not hanging that thing up in here. I don't care about this. But what I care about for me is how much we sell. I look at it and I'm like, you hear other restaurants that are slow and you can drive by and there's 6 cars out there and we're on an hour and a half wait. To me, that's winning.
Woo.
That's how I've been able to curb that to myself, is calling that winning. If you can make people happy, people enjoy it. To me, I get as much satisfaction out of that as winning a contest.
Oh, yeah.
And it's good and bad. You get a lot of people that don't like stuff. But to me, that's when you cook a competition, you take a box and you turn it in to judges, and they go eat it and all that. And you may win the contest or you may take 10th, but you don't know who ate your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But on a restaurant, when you get to cook it and you try to do your best and do all that, and you do a good job and you turn it out, but you can watch somebody take a bite of brisket and they're handing it to the person across the table and they're all like, oh, wow. It's a feeling. It's like winning a contest. I'm telling you, it's the same feeling. You get that, you're like, all right. And I was never the guy that got excited at awards. If you ever seen me at awards, rarely was I ever excited. I was already thinking about the next week. What would I change about my cook today? I didn't like this. We didn't get a chicken call. I knew that sauce was too thick. It's in your head thinking about what to do for the next week. But my ex-wife and them used to tell me, they're like, just enjoy this one. I was like, I can't. I got to be back at work. Tomorrow morning, we got to get home. He was like, get the trailer cleaned out. I need to leave Thursday the next week so we can go to Florida or wherever. You had to have it figured out. So I didn't enjoy it like other people did, but I loved doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different way.
Okay. Now, what was the most surprising thing about the restaurant life?
Okay, I should have listened to some of my friends. They all told me, they're like, it's not about just sitting in a smokehouse and cooking barbecue. And I built probably the nicest smokehouse in all of barbecue. It's got an air conditioner in it. It's nice. I got glass windows, 2 old hickories, 2 camelbacks, nice pits. Put in an ultimate stereo system in the smokehouse in there. I put a big screen TV in there so I can watch TV. I'll watch football games. I didn't want to miss games when I was working. And I really thought I was going to be in that smokehouse a lot. And for the first 6 months, because then we went through COVID and everything, I was in that smokehouse a lot. But as the restaurant grew and got busier, you find out you have to pay somebody to do that part that you love, and you have to go do a lot of the stuff you don't love.
Mm-hmm.
Ordering and books and do all the numbers. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that part of it. But then you find out,
Wow. All right. Beyond the accolades, what has barbecue given you as a man, a father, and a human being?
Yeah, I think as a father, it's turned and showed my kids work ethic. Mm-hmm. All my kids work hard. Madison's super smart and everything, but that's their own. But to me, I know that we taught them work ethic. Nothing's free. Mm-hmm. You have to work for it. If you want something, figure out a way to work for it. They're always seeing me buy an old truck or something, doing something. And it's like, how do you do that? I hustle. I work on the side. I'll buy something and fix it up and sell it. Just a work ethic to get to where you want. That's probably the thing that I'm most proud that it taught my kids. Mm-hmm. I think it taught my kids to be winners. My son is a very good football player. When Madison was in rowing, when not winning, they don't like it. I think it brought them that mentality of try to do your best to be the best. You might not win them all, but figure out what you got to do to get better. It's a mentality. That and work ethic, I think, go hand in hand. You ain't a winner if you don't have work ethic. I'm sorry, you just don't. All that work is put in to push you to a win. To even give you the chance to get a win, you got to work at it. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty proud of that. It changed me. As a man, it had to show me a little more patience because I'm not a patience person. I like instant results. I like to do something and know it's there now. Mm-hmm. I think it changed my life for sure. Barbecues brought more opportunities than I could ever imagine. You went from just a normal job to a dream job to now it's a business where you think it's a headache. And there's a lot of times I think, God, I hate doing this. I'm just over it. And then you sit back and think, would you go back to doing what you were doing 10 years ago? And the answer is always, hell no. I don't want to go back to the oil field. I let my electrical license, I had a master's electric license, and I didn't keep up my continuing education hours and let it go. And my wife was like, you sure you want to do that? I was like, baby, if I got to go back and be an electrician, we're screwed already. Everything has gone way wrong. We had a lot of stuff go wrong. I love what I do, but I find myself getting to where I don't appreciate it because it's the headaches of the things. A week ago, till 3 o'clock in the morning, was getting a hot water heater replaced. It's just a constant stress, but I complain about it, but I truly love it. I do. But you have to find yourself and put yourself in check and say, no matter how tired you are right now, would you go back to getting that 3 a.m. call out in the snow in an oil field? And you're like, no, I don't want to do that. So it's an amazing life, and barbecue gave me all of that.
Yeah, it's definitely better to have your own and work for yourself because you call the shots instead of somebody calling the shots for you. So
you do. The public calls the shots.
Well,
that's the thing is you've got my first brisket. When I was cooking my brisket, I wanted to really do that Texas brisket, just a big old fatty brisket. Oklahoma didn't like it. There's a place in town that does well with it, but he sells about 1/10 of what I do. Overall, as a whole, I'm like, what do the people want? learned that they wanted us to really separate them and do burn-ins, and it takes way more work and you make way less money because there's way less yield. But we had to adapt to what they wanted, not necessarily what I thought I was going to cook.
Mm-hmm.
I had to change a lot of things. I was doing mostly just salt, pepper, and brisket rub. And you had people thinking it's too salty. And I'm thinking, man, that ain't salty. That thing's awesome. But it wasn't what these people wanted. And that you're sending out that big old fatty slice of brisket. And I get a lot of women in my place. And you had to listen to them. They were like, can you cut the fat off? Can you cut the fat off? And I'm thinking, what? No. But you did. So it changed how we ran the restaurant. So the public is the boss. And you try to adapt to them. And there's some things I won't just change. But we haven't changed our menu in 5 years. Going on 6 years now. We haven't changed really anything. It's just the core of what it is.
Oh, that's excellent. That's a nice building. I saw it on, I guess Cosmo had came to y'all restaurant and did a video.
Yeah.
That's a nice building.
Yeah, I know. It's different. It's not, when I was building it, I was talking to people and they're like, man, that's not barbecue. That's not how you do it. And I thought, why not? Why not make it a cool place? Why not make it a date night place?
Exactly.
The smokehouse is built separate with a fire door between them, so the restaurant just don't smell like smoke. And everyone's, that's not how you do it. You don't paint walls white in a restaurant. I'm like, why not? It looks clean to me. I like clean. They're like, well, that's just not how barbecue is. Barbecue's supposed to be grungy.
Yeah, somebody has to do something different. Just because one person do it don't mean everybody had to.
Yeah, had me nervous from the beginning, but from day one, it's always been busy.
It looked very professional. It looks beautiful on the inside. Those are the tables.
I got a good team that keeps it up, man. They know when I walk in there, if I see paint scratch, they know. Usually, if I look at it, they're already going, I already called them.
That's a good crew to have.
I got a damn good crew.
All right. So what's your honest read on competition barbecue today? Is it headed in the right direction or is it straying away from what made it magical?
I don't think anybody can say it's going in the right direction. I would challenge anybody to prove to me how it is, because the numbers are dropping dramatically on it. Every year there's less competitions. Every year there's less teams. So I don't think there's any way anybody could convince me that it's possibly going better than it was.
Mm-hmm.
No numbers support that. They can fudge numbers and say, we did this many more contests. They did that many more one meat contests. There's a whole bunch of those in there.
Mm-hmm.
But true four meat contests, a lot of the old time contests that were there a long time, 20 plus years, are gone. The money is way down in it. Mm-hmm. There's less participation in it. There's not a lot of, all the numbers are going down. So I don't think anybody can convince me that it's doing better than it was. You look back on what I say the heyday from, you look at 2010 to 2018, 2017, 18, barbecue was so many people at it. It was just booming and booming. When pitmasters went on TV, it really opened up a light to so many people that it was in conversations.
Mm-hmm.
When there used to be contests that we'd win grand championships that paid certain amounts. Now the whole contest is less money than that. I was talking to some of these guys going out doing it all the time. They're like, yeah, we'll go win it. We're still going to lose $500. That's insane. That's just insane. There were so many contests we won the grand championships for $5, $10, $15, $20,000. Mm-hmm. They're not even around anymore. It's just changed. And I think as barbecue, what happened with that is why wouldn't it change? Mm-hmm. What hurt barbecue more than anything, and nobody can convince me not, is we didn't get the public involved.
Exactly.
You come to me as a restaurant and say, I want you to sponsor my barbecue contest. First thing I'm going to say is, why? What is it going to get me if I do that? Just a banner? Just a little banner over here by your deal? Hell, I'll just pay for advertising if that's the case. We didn't interact with the public enough. We should have done more demos. We should have let the public come out and eat. Here's the dumbest thing in the world. I've been to 250 some KCBS ones, and I count on one hand how many times you could buy barbecue to eat at a contest.
Wow. So
you get the public to come out. You know how many times people come up, can we buy barbecue? And our answer was, no, we're not selling barbecue. Mm. They should have had vendors that you never got the public in. If you don't get the public in, why are you going to get somebody to sponsor and give you money if it does no good?
Exactly.
It blows my mind. They never did anything for the public. Very few. There's some that do, but those contests do well, like Corey with Osage City. They bring it. You go there, and on Friday night, the whole public is out there. They got barbecue vendors set up everywhere, and a lot of it's teams. And they got a stand where you can buy barbecue sauce and stuff. They get the public involved. Too many contests just don't, and they die off. You go to a contest, there's nothing going on. It's just a bunch of teams there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to find a way to get a public involved. Whether I wish they'd have took top teams and said, "Would you guys come do a pork demo, cook it, and pass out samples to the public?" Hell, we'd all done it. I mean, it's just
Yeah, I don't think it will. I went to Walker Comp yesterday, Pigs and Peaches, and I think it might be a KCBS contest. They literally had all the cook teams in one area, and then probably like a half mile down the road was the festival. That's
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, you're having a barbecue contest to have it. People want to walk around just like I did it. You can't convince me otherwise. I walked around and went, "Oh man, I want to get into this." But Rod took the time to talk to me and do it. And then we went in and bought barbecue. It was shitty barbecue, but we went in and bought barbecue to eat there. But there's too many contests that don't. People come out, "Oh, there's a barbecue contest. Let's go eat barbecue." And we tons of times would just give our food to people. They always said, "Don't do that." And a lot of organizers would be like, "Don't pass out public food. Don't do it out there. The health department says we can't do it." And there's tons of times I was, "Look, I'm going to throw it in the trash or I'm going to give it to these people. I don't care." So we did it a lot of times. We'd give it to people, or we'd tell people, "Hey, come back at 1 o'clock. I'll let you try rib. Come back here. Do this." But people would come out, and they wouldn't even have a barbecue vendor there. If I was going to put on a contest, first thing I would do is people need to be able to come out and eat barbecue. How are we going to do that? And it's just silly if you think about it. But I'm like, tell me how it's getting better. Tell me one way that it's gotten better. And nobody can. The numbers are down. They're not making money. Prize money's down. Less contests, less cooks doing it. You're losing contests faster than you're bringing them back. You're not getting the money in it because you're not getting sponsors. I was like, tell me what's gotten better.
Exactly.
It's just it's a sad state, and unfortunately, I don't think they know how to fix it.
Yeah,
it's hard
true.
It's hard to do it. Once it's on the downspin like that, how do you get it back? King of the Smoker was an event that brought public out that was just crazy, and it was so exciting. They opened the floodgates after it was open. The public could come out and pay big money to talk with teams, and we did demos and all that. I never understood why there wasn't more contests that just did that. Let people come out and do it. You don't have to bother teams, but just say it starts at 1 o'clock or whatever. You start people early. Say at 1 o'clock it's open, and have people doing demos or have barbecue vendors that are selling good food, and try not to rape the public. Just make it a deal. Be like, yeah, you can get a $10 sandwich. That's not a bad deal. You can't do it in a restaurant.
Exactly.
Just do a deal that get the public involved. But without the public involved, there's no way it'll grow. Without the public involved, who wants it on TV?
Exactly.
If the public can't be there and be involved in it and it connect with you, how can I convince you it's what you want to do or be a part of?
That's true. That is true.
That blows my mind. As a business owner, if they come to me and just said, "Donate this," and I'd be like, "What the hell am I getting for it?" It just doesn't make sense. There has to be a way to get people involved. I think there's a few great contests that have done that, and they've always survived, and they've always done it. And I'll say Corey, Osage City, Kansas, I think it's 100 teams every year in the middle of frickin' nowhere. When it always brings in good teams, and we sponsor it, and I sponsor I don't know what we sponsor, some of the awards at it. We sponsor it because it's so well ran. They do such a good job. Him and his wife both, they do a good job. They get barbecue teams to donate sauces and rubs, and they sell those things off to raise money for schools and everything. It's such a well-ran thing that they understand. Public comes out, you're raising money for something. It's such a good deal. But I've been to way more contests where we're all in a parking lot. We don't do nothing. We don't even know where we're taking the trash to. What are we supposed to do with the trash? We can't even figure that out, much less how we get the public involved. But I really wanted to put on a contest. I wanted to put on like a $25,000 contest. I'll have my Mexican ladies at the restaurant make some badass breakfast to pass out to everybody and really do a good thing. And then at the end of the day, and I'm like, why would I do it? What would it do for me? If I have that extra money, I'd rather just give it to my employees anyways. It's
exactly.
Just, when you think about it, it's like there's nothing to gain from it. Nothing to gain. Most of these organizers, they put in a ton of work and a ton of hours, and it's selfless hours. You're not going to make much money if you have an event, but it's a lot of work. But I'm a firm believer, if you can't figure out how to get the public in it, it's just going to keep dying. And you look at the numbers, and it ain't hard to see. Just count up the contest. Then, all right, now take the one meat ones out that you have, a one meat chicken, a one meat rib, and a contest the same weekend. They're counting that as 3 things. You just go around and count true contests. 4 meat contests, tell me how it is. So then they try to make it cheaper. So it's okay, pork. Now you can just do pork collar. So you can just cook the money muscles. Now you're turning into a grilling society, not barbecue.
Yeah.
I think you're just trying to appease people. I think there was a challenge to taking a pork butt and doing that. I think that was part of the challenge. Now you just see money muscle boxes, and they all look the same. And it's just everybody want to know why there's inconsistency in scoring. It's because everybody's cooking the same exact thing. It requires less skill. People all the time, I always say, oh, they're always like, burn ends, leave burn ends out. You can't win with burn ends. And I was the guy that just shut up and say, I'm like, okay, I guarantee you 90% of the boxes I 180'd in brisket or first place was damn sure burn ends. I just stayed back like, good, don't cook them, I will. You know?
I know that's right. Have you ever competed at Memphis and May with any team, or?
I have not. I've been offered several times. It's just, I don't know, never been my thing. At one time, me and David Qualls here in Oklahoma and Butcher, Donnie Teal, we talked about like teaming up and going down and doing it. Never did. I always thought that would be kind of fun. I don't really know much about it. Never even been. I've never even.
Yeah, I take my wife up there the past like 2 out of 3 years, and it's starting to bother me because as far as the crowd wise, they're getting too technical. I couldn't even record, just walk around recording. They had a problem with that. And I'm like, it's supposed to be why is it open to the audience if we can't just walk around recording and stuff?
One time I wanted to get into it, and I talked to some people about it, and they told me how much they spend on a deal, and I was out. I was like, yep, nope, not doing it. There's no way. You talk people spending $100,000 to $200,000 to put on a party for that deal. And it's like, you did what? You know what I mean? They're building temporary cities and taking them down. I'm like, yeah, I'm out on that deal, man. I ain't got that kind of money. I'm not going to try to raise that kind of money. It's just not for me. I think it's great that people do it. I hope it's something that keeps going forever. It just was never for me.
Yeah, Smoke Slam stealing a lot of their people because they throw in money at people, as well as they have something for the audience because they had a whole live fire experience with Al Fragoni and giving out all samples and all types of stuff to the people.
I mean, that's no different than any business. If somebody is going to do a better job than you, people will go there. It pertains to restaurants. It pertains to any business. If you're a tire shop and somebody's doing a better job than you, your business is going to suffer.
Exactly.
And I think I think CBA hurt KCBS some when they came around and they did that. They're mostly Texas, but they're branching out now. But I think they just did better things in the fact that they were getting sponsors and getting money. Some of the things they were doing was better. That's just the name of it. If people are going to go out and do something, that could cost you.
Yeah. What's the most popular item at the restaurant and what's the most underrated?
Burn ends are by far the most popular. Burn ends and brisket. We sold 267,000 pounds of brisket last year and 80,000 pounds of burn ends. It's crazy. And we'll do more than that this year. It's insane. I wish I lived in Georgia and I could say that number about pork. I'd probably sponsor your show, just give you an extra $100,000 for the fun of it. You know, if people would buy pork, but when it's brisket, I mean, you just sit there and cringe, and when it's $6 a pound, you're like, oh man, you'd almost rather hand them $5 and say, thanks for coming in. It's gotten so expensive. It's the good and bad of it. It's the curse of it. Living in the Midwest, we're beef country. It's what people love. Probably the most popular. Underrated, probably our burgers. I don't ever push them that much. We use a Snake River Farms Wagyu burger. It's probably one of the best burgers in town. That people just come in to eat barbecue, and once they had the burger, they're like, I've been coming here 2 years, never had a burger, just tried one. Oh my God. We don't push it because we're a barbecue joint. We don't really advertise them and do much, but they're unbelievable. They're so good.
Okay. I was looking at your menu. What is a coop dog?
All right. So not smartest thing on the menu. I let all my kids name something. So if you look on there, anything that's American raised, the word American's capitalized, right? Everything else isn't capitalized except my kids' names. You got Maddie's Mac and Cheese. You got the Brooklyn Burger. You got Jen's Boneless Wings. Those are my 3 kids. And then Cooper always was known as Coop Dog. People always called him Coop Dog. Okay. My son, they're always like, Coop Dog, what's up? What's up? Always. So when we do the Snake River Farms or the Double R Ranch hot dog they have, which is an awesome hot dog. Coop used to love them all the time. And he's like, I want hot dogs. And we're like, on the menu? That's what you mean? Hot dog? You don't want to pick something else? And it was that. So we always did them as the Coop Dog. You can get any burger, call it as a Coop Dog, and they'll do them Double R Ranch hot dogs, and they're unbelievable. The messy heifer one with the chili and the cheese curds on it is so freaking good. It's unbelievable. They're not a hugely popular item, and when once one of our servers sell them up to somebody, people always come back in and say, "Man, I got to come in and get a hot dog." You know, they're unbelievably good. We don't sell enough of them to justify. If it was a normal restaurant, you would take them off the menu. But it's my kids. I'm like, I don't care if we sell 5 a month. I don't even care. We sell several a day, but it's just not a super big mover because you don't go to a barbecue joint to eat a hot dog. I mean, it's just, but it's neat because people come in and eat barbecue one day and they'll come eat. In the wintertime, you'll sell tons of them chili dogs. You sell tons of them. So people come in and do them, but that's what it is.
Okay.
And I've been toying around with coming up with another menu item. I want him to get a little older. My grandson's 4, just turned 4. We're trying to figure out. I want to put something on there for him too. We just got to figure out what he wants.
Okay, that was cool. Everybody got their own item. How did it feel being inducted in the Hall of Fame?
It was cool. It was cool. I think it felt to me like we worked hard and get acknowledged for it. Because there's tons of people, especially the new people. They have no clue the stats that we have or anything like that. I think what Brad has done over the years and Darren is unbelievable. Them guys at Iron Man's been doing it forever. You know, they just keep cooking. Darren's been doing it forever. He's cooked over 700 in some contests. I mean, to me, that's 500 more than me. 3 times as many. I look at that as mind blowing to me. I never had that kind of patience. I was just like, that is a dedication that's awesome. So they get inducted with a lot of them guys like that, and people that I've always looked up to was very cool. Just thought it was cool. We went in as number 3 all time, Darren number 2, and Brad at number 1 all time. That's so on points. To me, I sit there and think, man, I've cooked half as much as most. All these people, a third or less of some of them, and I was like, we're still number 3. I was like, the stats don't lie. And to get acknowledged for that, I guess I always felt pretty cool about that. It was a very big honor, and I was super proud of it. You know that my family could all partake in it also. So very proud of it.
What year do you think was your better year, 15 or 17?
17. I kicked the shit out of everybody at 17. I mean, it wasn't even funny. It was just, I mean, we won 14 grands, 12 max point wins in 12 different states. That's crazy. Nobody's ever done that. Honestly, nobody's ever done that. I thought 15, I could have won it easier if I'd have been smarter. I was very new to the game, and I didn't really understand that the points would matter that much. And I was sitting there thinking, man, I've got 3 more grands than this guy. I've got more wins. I beat him head to head. How could we be this close in points? I didn't understand how it all worked. I truly didn't. You know, and that's why at 17, I'm like, I'm not doing that again. I'm going after it all.
I know that's right.
I think 17 was one of the best years in barbecue ever.
Yeah. And Tim, people don't realize 10 didn't exist, boy. I don't know where barbecue would be right now.
No, Tim was, I love that guy. I don't get to talk to him a whole lot, but he's a talented guy. And when I really knew he had an amazing palate, I can remember when it was, we were cooking in Colorado in Canyon City. That's where my grandma was from. We were cooking a little contest there, and then we were all going to go like north of Denver after that was over and go cook. And Tim's, I forgot my damn finish powders. And he's in my trailer going through all my spices. He said, what do you got? What do you got I can use? And he's going through everything. He said, you got a coffee grinder? I'm like, yeah. The guy freaking dumps this, a little of this in a coffee grinder, hits it, and he dumps a little more of this and this, does it like 2-3 times. He's like, oh, yeah, that's good. Here, try this. I tried it, and I'm like, damn. I was like, that's really good. It was amazing to me. I'm like, this freaking guy forgets what he has, comes in another trailer, just going through my boxes while I'm trying to do turn-ins. I'm like, get out of here. He cracks me up, but he just has such a great palate to go through with stuff. I think he's underrated big time of how good he is as a barbecue cook. The new people all know Tim as Blues Hog, and I'm thinking, Blues Hog was Bill Arnold. That wasn't Tim. That wasn't Tim Shear. And I was like, Tim built himself, in my opinion. And he's grown Blues Hog, definitely. But they don't know Tim Shear how good a cook he was. You know, they all just know Tim Shear as Blues Hog. And I'm thinking, that's 1/10 of what Tim is. Tim is one of the best cooks to ever do it.
Exactly. And coming out with that drum just changed the whole game.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It did. You know, he's a very smart guy.
Exactly. So who do you feel is the GOAT of competition barbecue?
All right now, I would say Brad is still dominating everybody. I will say this, Brad didn't win a Team of the Year until I retired. I still tell him that all the time. But what Brad's continued to do through it all, I think it's impressive. Darren has always impressed me for his longevity, as long as he's done it. I look at those two guys, and they've done their career different. Darren has done it a long time and still pretty successful doing it. I've always looked at both of those guys as good cooks. I always thought, and Brad used to say the same thing, that Tim was a better cook than Brad is. I've tried their food, and Tim's food, I always like, Jesus, that's good. He always just cooked great food. Tim was always a shit show in a trailer trying to get in the box. It was always a mess. He was always, you just look over at his trailer, like a bomb went off, and it was like, what happened? It's on the radio behind him. You're like, how do you even do that? But he was a great cook. I would put all three of those guys up there really good. I think they were good. Statistically, another team that people don't think about is like Big Papa. Statistically, my numbers are better than his, but statistically, he's probably top three in numbers. Oh, wow. If you look at amount of contests cooked and wins. Brad's cooked 150, I don't know how many he's cooked, 150 more contests than me or something now. So almost double of what I've done to get 20 more wins or something. To me,
yes.
I look at numbers and look at it that way. And Darren cooked a lot of years where he wasn't good, but when he got good, he stayed good for a long time, and he still is. So he's done it a very long time. There's a lot of cooks that you can't find their history on barbecue data. So a lot of people, new people like you, don't know him, like Donnie Teal, Buffalo's Barbecue. Donnie was done cooking before you really got into it. He doesn't do any KCBS really now, but he's a badass. The guy cooked a lot of contests for a lot of years and was a badass at doing it. But back in them days, them guys would go cook contests at 10 or 15 teams at it. It was just different. Jeff Staney had Slaughterhouse 5. They racked up tons of wins. But way back in the day, what people don't know is when his restaurant was successful, the dude had 2 teams. They'd send a team this way to cook, and they'd go this way to cook. Slaughterhouse 5 may get 2 grand championships same weekend. Oh, wow. They put in the Jeff Staney rule, and that's why points started going off of your KCBS number, not your team name. Because they'd have a group of guys over here, a group of guys over here. You'd win contests, 2 contests the same weekend.
Wow.
He told me a story one time that he did a double, and they had a reserve and 2 grands in the same weekend from 2 different teams. But they got all the points under their deal. And they put in the Jeff Staney rule for that, to where it had to be your head cook number.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of guys back in the day that people just don't know that were really good. There was a lot of great teams in it. I think True Bud, those guys, when they got out of it, Tim just got out of it heavy and all. But Tim and Boyd and them guys, those were the main 2. They were badasses. They had a 3-year run that you were like, good Lord. They went after it hard. They only won 1 team of the year, but they were second in the next year. They had a 2 or 3 year run. They were a dominant team. They were really good. That was right when I was getting into it. They won the team of the year 2013, which was really when I was getting into it. And then in 2014, they were the runner-ups, and then we won it in 2015. But when I got into it, those were the guys that you were like, man, they were on a roll. Yeah. So there's some great teams, but I think what Brad and Darren have done and continue to do is good. Brad could have quit cooking this season and still win team of the year. There's no competition for him. He's 400 points ahead this late in the year. He's enjoying it now. Hell, he flies in and cooks everywhere and does it. It's just nothing I'd ever do, but but we've talked, and it's way easier than it used to be. And I just think that's just, there's not as many people out doing it.
That's true.
Just not, I don't think it's saying the caliber of teams are worse or anything like that. It's just a hell of a lot less contests. And once you get a lead, you get this late in the year, and you look at it, it's like, where can they go to even cook enough points to catch you?
Exactly.
So the guy's going to have to drive way back east or drive here. You just can't do them like you used to. You look at how many contests Oklahoma alone used to have. I think at one time we were up to 16, and I think there's 2 or 3 now. And all the good ones, what we'd say that had good money and trophies, are not there anymore. They're all gone.
Yeah. I know Donnie Teal, he's doing the Rib Cook-Off Association.
Yep. He started doing some of those. I think he's taking his grandson to some of them and doing them. He's been taking his grandson to it, and he likes to do, the 4-H and stuff with the pigs and stuff with his kids or his grandkids. So that's super cool. But Donnie was a badass back in the day. And I don't know how many new teams that I see that come into my restaurant. They're like, oh, yeah, we want to do this. Is there any other good teams? And Donnie's one of the first ones I bring up, and they're like, who? I'm like, Buffalo Barbecue? They're like, never heard of it. And I'm like, oh, shit. And then I got to tell them, I'm like, look, this guy,
800
contests. He's been doing it for 30 years. Like, they just don't know. You know what I mean? It's not their fault. It's just, I just think it's another way that I always said that KCBS never celebrated their champions. I think them starting a Hall of Fame, hopefully that'll happen. like Donnie and them guys. You look at these guys that ain't in it, and it's just if there isn't a place for the newer people to even know about them, how do they?
Yeah.
We're young enough. You remember, Joe Montana, Ronnie Lott, and them guys. But if there wasn't a Hall of Fame, would we?
Exactly.
I seen them play, but I was young. But if you're 35 years old, you may not know if there wasn't a Hall of Fame. It ain't like you can just Google championship barbecue teams and watch a video on it. Like
True.
you Google hardest hit in the Super Bowl, and it might pop up Ronnie Lott. You're one of them. Barbecue's not that way. We didn't document the history of it like it should be.
That's true. So that's definitely what I'm trying to do to get some of those people. I had booked one with Donnie Till, but he was on the road, so I didn't get to do it with him. But I'm trying to get some of those people that they didn't get the chance to hear from to tell their story and stuff like that. And
I think there's in Oklahoma, people are always like, "Oh, you're the king of barbecue down here," and I still tell everybody I think Donnie Till is. I've always had good respect for him and his family. Cindy, I just think they did it hard. He was my neighbor to Royal for a lot of years, and shit. Now we send each other car pictures, but I just think that he's accomplished so much over the years. He didn't have any team of the years. We had better runs. But this guy's done it for 30 years. And I think we looked back, I think he's only beat me 1 or 2 times in my career ever.
Wow.
But I was like, you look back at the 30 years and just look at what he's done. He may not have the winning percentage, but he's done it for a long time. And the longevity of it, it's crazy. I think it's impressive what he's done. I think I'm proud of our stats, and I don't know who will ever touch our stats, win percentage, our 180s, our 700s, all that. I think we were a balanced cook. You look at our numbers and you look at our first, we got 28 first briskets, 27 pork, 26 ribs, and 24, 5 or 6 chicken. It's even, it's balanced. I'd never wanted to be a one-hit wonder. I always wanted to be consistent. And you look at guys like Donnie like that, you can't do a career that long and be successful if you're not a balanced cook. I think they are. Butcher, he's a good cook down there also. Butcher, when I got into it, was the hot thing. Whenever I first started, he had just won that World Food Championship in Vegas. And I remember when he pulled in a new truck and trailer at my very first contest. And everybody was like, "Oh, shit, Butcher Barbecue's here." And I was like, "Who's that?" I really had no idea. And I was like, "Is that the guy that makes the injection rod uses?" Okay. I had no idea who anybody was. I remember that day I was arrogant enough in myself, or confident enough in myself. I told my ex-wife, I was like, one of these days, I said that people say the same shit when I pull in. She's like, "Okay, you wait." And we 180 and had a first and everything at that contest. And it was a start, but I was just like, anybody can be beat. I was never proud that would I go to contests like, "Oh, I beat Butcher Barbecue." I always looked at it as you're competing against judges, right? It doesn't matter. We're trying to please 16 judges between these turn-ins or whatever, a minimum different turn-ins. We're trying to please these people. It's 20 different judges. We're trying to please them how it's going to be. So that was what I always looked at, how you did it. But it amazes me. I would get people to come up to me that beat me in ribs a day, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, we beat you in ribs." And like, "Brad, were we on the same table?" No. All right. It amazed me that people would look at it that way. I never did. My first contest, when I got my first win in KCBS, was Canyon City, Lamar, Colorado. My grandpa helped build that park, so it was cool for me to go cook that there. And I just remember what I wanted. I was like, "Who's the best cooks here?" And everybody was just Johnny Trigg. And I was like, I want to turn all my meat in with him and make sure we're on there with the best cook. That's what I want to do. And I mean the judges.
That's true.
I was pretty young and naive.
All right, I'm going to ask one more question and a couple of games and we're out of here. If you had to construct an all-star team, you and 3 other people to compete in a competition, what meat are you going to cook and what 3 other people you're going to pick, dead or alive?
I'm going to cook the brisket. That's probably going to be my go-to is the brisket. I think I'm a great brisket cook. The 3 other people I would take, I would probably, that's a tough one. I would probably take Sterling Ball, and then I'm going to get a pass on that because he always cooks with James, so I'm bringing in that team, so I get James also. So that's only one person, but we're bringing 2. We're going to count it as 1. I'm going to bring them in. I'd probably take Brad, and I would probably take Tim Shear.
Okay, which are each of them cooking?
I would probably let Brad cook chicken. I would let Tim, I don't know. Sterling chicken is some damn good shit too. That would be this is a challenge. I would let Tim cook pork. So pork's off the table, brisket's off the table. I would let Brad cook ribs, and I would let Sterling cook chicken. That's how I would do it.
All right, I got 2 quick guys.
And then I would go on the record and say,
all right, you know how the tournament bracket in college basketball, I constructed a grill meat tournament bracket where I matched up different grill meats against each other. You just pick which one you choose to eat. Hamburger versus steak.
Steak.
Okay. Next matchup, pork ribs versus pork belly.
Pork ribs.
All right. Next matchup, hot dogs versus smoked chicken.
Hot dogs.
Or coop dog.
Hot dogs, definitely hot dogs.
All right. Burnt ends versus pork chop.
Oh, shit. Pork chop.
Okay. Smoked turkey versus sausage.
Oh, man, that's a tough one. Now you're tugging at my heart. So I love my turkey. I'm probably going to go sausage.
All right. Smoked ham versus barbecue shrimp.
Oh, ham. I hate seafood. That's a given.
Lamb versus brisket.
Brisket.
All right. Beef ribs versus smoked bologna.
Smoked bologna.
Okay. Next round, steak versus pork ribs.
Steak.
All right. Hot dog versus pork chop.
Pork chop.
Okay. Sausage versus ham.
Oh, sausage.
All right. Brisket versus bologna.
Brisket.
Right.
Yeah.
Final 4, steak versus pork chop.
Do that. That's my top 2. That ain't even right. You can't drop my top 2 and they're right out of the gate. We need to go down to the final. Oh, man.
I love pork chop.
I'm honestly going to take pork chop.
My man. Then sausage versus brisket.
Brisket.
All right. Final pork chop versus brisket.
Oh, man. This is just what I prefer to eat?
Yes.
If I was going to, on my deathbed, I'm eating one,
Yeah.
probably pork chop.
All right.
Straight up pork chop, man. I grew up eating pork chops, man. That's one of my favorite things.
Okay. And next tournament bracket I got is the top 16 athletes of all time.
Bo Jackson. Enough said. Leave it at that.
Matchup 1, Tom Brady, Lionel Messi.
Tom Brady.
All right. Michael Jordan, Dale Earnhardt.
Michael Jordan.
All right. Serena Williams, Usain Bolt.
Serena Williams.
All right. Michael Phelps, LeBron James.
You really ain't got Bo Jackson on this thing? On this conversation?
His longevity
LeBron
just
James.
didn't.
LeBron James.
All right. Ken Griffey Jr., Simone Biles.
Oh, man. Ken Griffey Jr. I really don't know much about Simone Biles, but I have to say Ken Griffey Jr.
All right. Tiger Woods, Kobe Bryant.
Oh, shit. Probably got to go Kobe.
Ooh. All right. Cristiano Ronaldo, Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky.
Roger Federer, Muhammad Ali.
Ooh, Muhammad Ali.
All right. And Brady versus Jordan.
Jordan.
All right. Serena versus LeBron.
Serena. I don't like LeBron. I'm not a LeBron fan, so
Yeah.
I think he's great. But
Yeah,
You're gonna get-
of course. Me personally, like I said before, I think Larry Bird was better than LeBron. That's just me.
dude, I would agree. Good players of all time.
Exactly. If he wouldn't have got his back hurt, it'd have been.
I'm telling you.
All right, Griffey versus Kobe.
Oh, Kobe.
All right, Gretzky and Ali.
Oof. Man. That's tough. Probably. Man. I think Muhammad Ali is one of the greatest fighters of all time. But I'm gonna say Wayne Gretzky.
All right. And final 4, Jordan versus Serena.
Jordan.
All right, Kobe versus Gretzky.
Kobe.
All right. Final, Kobe versus Jordan.
I gotta pick Jordan.
I'm already writing it down.
Of all time. Was Bo Jackson.
Oh, yeah, that's without a doubt. If
It's
he
a
wouldn't,
damn shame, but that guy was a beast.
yeah, if he wouldn't have got hurt in that football game, it would have been a different story. But
Oh yeah,
me
I
being a
know.
Bronco fan, I'm a different Bronco fan, so.
Yep, he was just the skill of him. People always talk about Dion dual sport. Bo Jackson, if he could have not had that tackle, if he wouldn't have got tackled by the Bengals, the guy was a freak of an athlete. Just a
Running
freak.
up the wall and everything.
It's hard to think of what he could have done. Just unreal.
Exactly. All right, that's all I have for the interview. Your therapy session is over. I appreciate you going across
Absolutely.
town and hop
fun.
on.
It was fun. This was great.
I appreciate it. But if you have anything to promote or shout out, you can do that now.
We don't got a lot. We got our rubs and sauces. Everything's on our website. But that's about it. I probably need to give a shout out to my wife and kids for everything they've always done. But that's pretty much it. The other thing we got coming, we got our sports bars coming that we've tied in with we started using our Clark Crew BBQ there on some wings and stuff. And it's about all I got going on in my life. The rest.
Do you have any classes or anything that you teach?
No, we started doing a lot of backyard classes at the restaurant, and I haven't done any this year. We get people calling. And I told them when it cools off, we'll do some more on their patio out there. It's just too hot right now, and nobody wants to be out in the heat. I think we'll do some again this fall. The backyard classes are so fun to do. I did a lot of competition classes. We taught over 1,200 people over the years doing those. But it's the backyard classes are fun because it's what you would really just cook at home. You know,
Exactly.
It's so fun. And now I'm definitely gonna do pork chops at it too. So.
Definitely. Do y'all post them on your website or anything?
Yeah. We'll put them on our Facebook page and then our website. You can sign up on there to do them. We'll put them on there.
Okay. So,
I'm not out there.
Okay, because I'll definitely go sign up and make that venture out there.
We try to do them, and like we'll do like a brisket and cheese dip, maybe some sandwiches. We do.
All right, cool. All right, I appreciate you for coming on, and
thanks for having me.
No problem. We'll see everybody in the next episode. We just wrapped up another session of BBQ Therapy. Remember, stay patient, stay passionate, and keep that fire burning. Hit subscribe, share the good smoke, and pay the secretary on your way out. Have a blessed day.